Amanda, is there still people checking in that we can give it a couple of minutes?
Yeah, there's still people coming. There's still people checking in. To 31. We do have quite a few people in the training room, so.
Okay. Is there still people checking in? If not, we can get started.
Yeah, look, that looks what we have, I think is, looks like it's what we're gonna have.
Okay, we can get started. Good morning, everybody. Today is April the 5th, and we're getting ready to start our department meeting. If you have not turned on your cameras, please do so. I will give you within 30 seconds to turn on your cameras, and then we'll get started. We have a lot to say. Everybody in our staff has a lot to say in our agenda, so please be ready to listen to all the information that's going to be coming at you today. Just a reminder, please turn on your camera so we know that you're there. Okay, we're getting ready to start. On the agenda, we're going to post the agenda, Crystal, so we can go down the line. Real quick, just so you know, I know summer school is approaching. I have not given you the information until it's set by the district of the campuses and the times of the summer school. Just keep in mind, it's going to be from June the 6th through June the 23rd or the 24th. So I will give you an update on that. But if you're interested in working summer school, I did see the sign up sheet. I know we have some bus aides and bus drivers. Just like we do every year, you must submit a letter of interest in Frontline. If you're having a hard time, we will be able to assist you with that. But you must submit a letter of interest to make sure that you are working summer school, and that is for the payroll purposes. So make sure that you will do a letter of interest in summer school. And so that we know that when it comes to payroll, central office will know the people that are working summer school. So that is the reason why we do the letter of interest. If you have any questions, please see me on that. But as far as I've been here, the 9 years, we always done the letter of interest for summer school. But it's the last 3 years has been in Frontline. So that's how you do that. Also, supervisors will set a schedule for evaluations for the bus drivers and bus aides. And so they will talk about that later on when their time is up. So they will discuss that with you. So please pay attention to the evaluations that will be coming out pretty soon for our department. Another big reminder, and I know this is every department meeting that I've been saying this, the idling on buses, please do not idle long periods of time. If you're in the bus parking lot, if you're at a campus, if you're at a field trip, we got to turn those buses off. As you know, the department fuel bill has really increased. So we're trying to give all the tips to make sure that we as the district, we are turning off our buses, and we're doing tips to save on fuel, because it's really the fuel has really skyrocketed, and I can tell that has risen in the last month with the last bill that I got. So as you know, I have a budget to control that. So we're just trying to make sure that we can control it till August 31st. The other 3 things I want to say, they're highlighted in bold black. Just a reminder, if you're looking at it, you might want to write this down and put it on your phone. This Friday is a student staff holiday, so there will be no school for bus drivers. So we are off this Friday. Okay, also next Friday, April 15th, is another student staff holiday, and that's Good Friday. The bus drivers and bus aides are off on that. So you may want to start writing this on your schedules just to give you a reminder. And of course, Monday, April 18th is another holiday. So that is a 4-day week for the bus drivers and bus aides to be off. So please put that on your schedules so you won't get confused that if you do come in the morning, if you see people are not here. So I like to remind you in advance to make sure that you put this on your calendar so you don't have to come in those days, bus drivers and bus aides. That is my agenda for today. I will pass it on to Mr. De La Cruz. Mr. De La Cruz, you're on mute. You got to unmute yourself.
That's right. I forgot. Good morning, everybody. It's early in the morning. Haven't finished my coffee yet. So, Crystal, can I share my screen?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. You have rights to share. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you.
Beautiful. Okay, then I can do that.
So if everybody takes a look at the screen, I'm right now putting up the groups that will be going to be doing the training, and a lot of it is going to be online, right? I seem to recall that a large number of people that are on this list, we had done it before with Frank Hogan. He came by for 2 days, I believe, for face-to-face training before COVID. So we have to, again, go through those modules, and I will have a meeting with everybody to get you familiar with the login process for to do these modules. And it is important that you do these modules before we even meet with Frank Hogan. You need to get a certificate, and I know we did it together, and I'm going to put group 2 right now. I'll post this up on the board. I just wanted to share this with you first. I want to show you the process of how to log in, go through the modules, and then print your certificate, okay? Once we do that, he's going to allow us to do some vector training in our vector solutions. Remember, Safe Schools? You have to do that one too. And then when it's all said and done, we're going to email him all the certificates, and then he will plan out a session 1 and 2 for those 2 groups, right? So in all honesty, we're probably looking sometime in May by the time we're done with this. Good thing about this, if I'm not mistaken, this is going to be good for 2 years, right? So it doesn't matter when time of the year we do it. We know that we got 2 years with this training, right? So that's good. So I will be posting when we're going to meet, and likely it might be Thursday or Friday. So I'll put it up on the board. We got other meetings that we got to go through and coordinate all of that, right? And it's fluid right now. So I'm going to stop sharing. But the other thing that I wanted to make sure too is if you do not have access to the computer, because you're gonna have to get a computer, and I think some of you, if not quite a bit of you, were able to do this on your phone, right? Of course, when you're printing, you got to make sure you go to a printer. You have access to a printer. So can we get the agenda back up, Crystal? I don't think I had the agenda on my screen here. So the next item, and it's also having to do with another meeting that we're going to be having tomorrow for Battle of Flowers, the parade on Saturday. We need all the drivers that are going to participate to stay tomorrow, clock out, and then clock back in when, or we'll do the time clocks on at 9:30 in the training room. There's some information that we got to share with you regarding how to get there, where to park, where to drop off, and where to pick up. Many of you have done this before. We haven't done it for the last 2 years, but we have a lot of new people that need to get familiar with this process. So that's the meeting tomorrow for the field trip. Okay. So going back to the lineups or the idling that Mr. Tamayo is, well, not only do we need to turn off the buses, but we also not turn on the buses too early. So let me give you an example. Right now, we're allowing people to go to the yard, and that's going to change next year. I'm just letting you know right now. Right now, you're allowed to go to the yard earlier because you clock in on your phone and you clock in at a later time. That's okay. But do not start your bus until you get to that time frame, which is 15 minutes before departure. Because one of the things that we're noticing, and I run idle reports, right? And right now, this is all verbal, just reminders. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot have these buses sitting here in the yard for 30 minutes running before you take off, right? So just be mindful of that. Don't start your bus 15 minutes earlier than you need to. If you want to come in early, that's okay. But that doesn't mean you start the bus, because that bus is going to be sitting an extra 15 minutes there before you even leave or do your pre-trip inspection, right? And even then, if you get to the high school, to the middle schools, and many of our middle schools, you guys are waiting out there an extra 10, 15 minutes with students, and that's okay. But imagine all that idling. And I think that's what Mr. Tamayo is talking about. We need to curb that, please. Just be mindful of that. Don't start your bus way too early. If you're going to be here 30 minutes in the yard, 20 minutes in the yard, don't start that bus too early. That's all we're asking. And if I notice that it's still continuing, I will pay a visit. Hey, can you please make sure you turn off your bus? Because I'm looking at some reports and you don't leave until whatever time, right? So please be careful with that, because it's eating into a lot of money there. Just that extra idling. Not only do we have to pay for that extra cost of the fuel because it's going up, the market value, but also because we're contributing to that in the form of idling. So please be mindful of that. Catch yourself on that. Hey, wait, you know what? I need to wait to start the bus. Okay. If you have any questions regarding that, please come and see me. We're always open for discussions on that, right? Next, the extra duty board. We will and I need to make sure that everybody understands is that the extra duty board, sometimes you may be called to go do other assignments aside from driving a bus or picking up a trip. Right now we're utilizing more of our bus aids to do more runs between campuses or between a campus, and they're using the the activity bus or the Suburbans, and they might not be available to help them, for example, disinfect the bus. So we might need calling the shop might be saying, hey, do you have anyone available to help come and disinfect the buses, right? So just remember that it entails everything, not just driving. So we want to make sure that people understand that. Now, if you sign up and you get the call to shop and you keep declining, then that's something that we need to talk about, right? Because that's the understanding that when you sign up for the extra duty, that means extra duty. It could be anything. Okay, that's just a reminder. We want to make sure, because we might start calling people to help disinfect buses by the bus wash, right? And we're talking during the week because we're starting to have more field trips, especially with the coaches. You know, it's the turnaround. We need those buses, you know, but that's just in case, you know, if we need people. All right. And I think that's pretty much it on my answer. And I think Linda's going to talk more about the field trips and at the meeting. So she'll give you kind of a preview of what's coming up. Linda?
Linda, you're up next.
Good morning. All trips for this week have been placed either on your PPE kit, if you bring your PPE kit in, or on the board. So if you haven't gotten a trip, check the board. We do need two additional drivers for Saturday. I had 2 declined and I've used all of my Saturday drivers. So we need 2 drivers and we need 2 standby drivers to come in on Saturday and just stand by. You will get paid for 2 hours. And if you're needed, well, you'll go ahead and do that trip. If not, then you'll be sent home after the 2 hours for Saturday. If anyone would like to sign up,
So Linda, Linda, what I was gonna say is we need to fill those 2 spots before we fill the spots for the
correct.
backup, right? So guys, remember that. Don't go up to Linda and say, "Oh, Linda, I want the reserve spots." No, we need to fill out those 2 spots first.
And so if you can send me a text, send me an email, or let Mr. De La Cruz know, he can put your name on the list. Also, if you want to decline any of your field trips, please sign them and turn them in as soon as possible so they can be reassigned. And also the assigned runs, those are considered the SAC, the PAC, the tutoring, the HOLT, all those extra runs that have been assigned to one particular driver. If you need to cancel those for whatever reasons, I know we have, have appointments and things like that, you can't do those trips. Please turn those in to dispatch and they'll reassign those off the extra board. So if you can't do one of those trips, just turn them in so they can be reassigned. And check the field trip board daily. Like I said, I've assigned all the ones for this week, but they still come in. So I'll be putting that, if I see your PPE kit there, I'll try to tape it on there if it's a last minute trip. Otherwise, it'll be put on the board. So please check that field trip board daily. That's all I have. Thank you.
Linda, I need to go back to I forgot one of my items, and this one is a big one. So I could not believe that I skipped it, but in my excitement of trying to present, I overlooked that one. So the bus lineup in the afternoons. Yep, let's talk about the bus lineup, guys. So I've been going out there and sometimes what we call independent practice, which means I don't go out there, but eyes over the sky, so to speak, with the GPS. I see the lineup. As a matter of fact, when at the mile an hour one day, we're looking at the lineup here on the GPS, right? The reason why I'm out there again is because it was getting a little bit chaotic out there in terms of the lineup, and we cannot afford, especially with the contractors out there and some of our white fleet coming in for fueling. We need to get back to the good practice that we were doing before, right? And what's happening is that we tend to just go out there and just line up at our own schedule, so to speak. So we need to go back to doing it in a structured way. So here is the expectations as reminders again. Please do not line up until it's your campus. And when it's your campus turn, make sure that you give an opportunity for the first couple of buses to pull out and then make the round. And I cannot stress this enough. I know it doesn't make sense, but it is important, believe it or not. Don't wait to stay in your slot, especially those of you who are in our slot A and B, more so for slot A and B. Guys, don't wait till there's a gap there so you can just slide in there because you don't want to go all the way around. Go all the way around. Once again, if you are in the lineup and you have been waiting to just get out of your slot so you can make the lineup, stop doing that, please. Go all the way around the lot and line up with everyone else, okay? I think that's what happens too in that chaos, so to speak, in terms of having all those buses just moving around, because at the same time, while you're trying to go around, there's some white fleets that are coming in, and I almost saw where, you know, the guys in the white fleet to some extent don't know what's going on. All they see is these huge, big yellow buses coming at them, right? So we got to be a little bit more organized, structured in that. And do not leave the yard unless if you you are one of the special needs or one of the alternative schools. Everyone else, you stay in the yard. Do not leave the yard, please. You know, you got to be part of that lineup. You know, it helps the campuses, believe it or not. It makes a big difference. When we start having people out of the lineup, and they're a little bit numbered differently, we know we have field trips and we accommodate for those times. But on a normal basis, please stay in your lineup. Don't leave the yard until your campus dismisses, and don't get in the line until it is time for you to line up. Okay, so be mindful of that. I'm out there just observing, and if I need to remind people, I will remind people, hey, you know, just don't forget, please do this or do that. Okay, we need to do it where we were structured. You guys had it down before. I don't know what happened, and I don't know who did what, but we need to get back to that point where you guys had it down. You know, where I didn't have to be there, or Mr. Tamayo didn't have to be out there, or one of the supervisors. We're gonna get back there. I know it's getting close to the end of the year. And even more so that we need to get back back organized to the way we were, okay? If you have any questions regarding what I said about this in terms of the bus lineup, please don't hesitate to come and see me. I will gladly clarify anything for you if there's something that was not clear, okay? That's it, sir.
Thank you, sir. Next in line, we have Gracie and Sonia. Gracie, you're up.
Thank you, sir. Good morning to everybody. Can everybody hear me? Yes, thank you. As Mr. Tamayo was speaking about the evaluations that we are going to be having, we will be doing our yearly evaluations. Your name will be posted on a easel up in the front here by the foyer. And it will have the time, the date, and who you will be evaluated by, and it would be myself or Sonia. So all the evaluations are all the same. There was some changes on some of the questions, not very much, similar to what we had before. We will, as we're doing the evaluation, we will instruct you as to how you're going to have to sign off for your evaluation so that you can get your copy and you know, you accept your evaluation. It should be. If you have any questions concerning the evaluation of any source or way, please give me or Sonia a holler, come in and talk to us. We'd be more than glad to answer any questions. The next thing that I'm going to be talking about is a reminder to clock in AM and PM on your scheduled time. It is very important that you clock in at your scheduled time for payroll purposes and for route purposes. Again, when you, like Mr. De La Cruz was saying earlier, This year, you're allowed to come in earlier from your time, and we do check to make sure that you're not clocking in too early, because some of y'all come in a whole hour ahead of time, which is fine. But again, the idling, like Mr. De La Cruz said, and the clocking in. We need you to utilize that time when you do clock in, is make sure that you're either, cleaning your bus, washing your bus. You do get an hour to wash your bus, after your route, morning or afternoon or in between. But again, you need to make sure that you stick to your route time, because one day you're absent, and guess what? That bus aide or that bus driver sub is getting on your route and going, and he's going by the route. And guess what? We start getting call-ins about the bus running early. I don't know if y'all heard me, but I had to send one of our sub bus drivers this week two times, or 3 times, I should say. He went the regular one, and then I sent him back twice. So it's happening. It's happening to some of these drivers. Why? Because you're not sticking to your schedule. You need to make sure that you are following that route schedule. If there's anything you need to talk to us about your route, come see me or Sonia or Daniel. We need to make sure that everybody is running their route on schedule. Sub drivers and bus aides, they come in at 5:30 in the morning and 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Just a reminder on that. And again, any changes, any updates, special needs especially, because we do have a lot of changes where we give you new students, and then we they withdraw, or they move, or they go to another campus for whatever reason. We need to make sure that all of that gets kept up to date. Again, in special needs, we've had both driver and bus aide out at the same time, and guess what? The route isn't up to date. So there we are, scrambling to make sure that everybody has their route on the bus or in their binder. We don't need to be doing that. We need to have that in place already. So in case of an emergency, or in case the day that you need to take off, we have that, and that we're not affecting the children getting to school on time. That's all I have. I'm gonna pass it over to Sonia. She'll take the last one. Sonia?
Ma'am?
I'm sorry? Somebody have a question?
Hey, ma'am?
Hello? Yes.
Yes. Ma'am, I just heard what you said, but I think that we missed something here with that. I think that 95% of our drivers, they are on time, I would assume. The biggest problem that I've had, ma'am, is when I sub for another driver and I go down their route, even if I am on time, those kids don't come out. They're not outside, because what happens is the drivers get used. They know their kids. They know where they live. So that bus would actually pull up, stop, and then those kids would come outside. Whereas if it's a sub driver, he or she isn't going to know that. So a lot of kids get missed because they are not outside. The parents' responsibility of making sure those kids are outside is being overlooked. So that needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Kendall. And yes, that is a good point that you brought up. I'm glad you did. Yes, we do have drivers, and I'm going to go a little, excuse me. I'm going to go a little more intense into that. We have regular route drivers and special needs drivers that are putting in bus stops where there shouldn't be any bus stops. Again, remember, we have to follow the info finder schedule. How it's on the schedule, that's what the parents are seeing. Now, drivers, regular drivers and regular special need drivers that are on your route, let's make sure that you train your kids to be at the bus stop, not at the porch, not in the car, or not, oh, the window, I can see them from my window, and when he gets there, I see him, he comes out. No. Kids have to be at their bus stops 5 to 10 minutes prior to the pickup time. And you're correct, you're right, Kendall. we have to train the parents as well as the children. And a lot of our parents are really good about that, because they'll call us and tell us, hey, we were at our stop and the bus didn't come through here. And we'll look at the GPS, and sure enough, we didn't. Why? Because the route description is not correct, or the map is not correct. So again, regular drivers, let's make sure that all your paperwork is in place, so that when that sub driver comes in to take over that route, that he or she will follow that route just the way you're doing it. So thank you, Kendall. That was a good point there.
And if I can add something here, and I know it's April, it's the last 2 months. Parents are going, well, you wait till April to address this? It's April. It is what it is right now. We're in April, right? But the message should be that as we're getting closer to the end of the year, we need to make these changes, because coming next year, because that's where the shock is going to be next year, right? Because when we go start again, and we have to, and that monitoring piece on our behalf takes place, where, we need to make sure the actual stops or the planned stops are happening, matching up the actual stops. That is where you're going to get an earful from the parent, because the bus stop used to be over here last year. Like Gracie said, start getting them ready for next year too. That, if there's a bus stop that needs to change because your customer service was far and beyond exceeding expectations, we're going to have to scale back a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. So remember that extra customer service is going to end up hurting us, right? Because those are the extra stops that we cannot afford to make. So now you have to do a little bit of PR work in terms of scaling back with those parents. Oh, by the way, we're going to finish out this, or just keep this in mind that, next year, this is not an actual stop. This is where the actual stop is. So you're the frontline person there. You're the one that deals with the parents, face to face, because you meet them, they meet you at the bus stop. So you need to make sure in a diplomatic way, don't say, well, the supervisor told me, or the assistant director told me that I can't do this anymore. That is not the message, right? Literally, don't throw us under the bus, please, because we get the calls anyway, but don't throw us under the bus like that, all right? You need to make sure that you start repairing those relationship with parents, because they're going to be upset that stop, that is not a planned stop that Daniel has planned for you, is not going to be there next year, right? So let's be proactive in that sense, that we need to scale back, start preparing our parents, start communicating with them that, hey, this is what it should be going on, but I did this, and I need to fix that, right? I need to make sure that I tell you, inform you, so that it won't be a shock when, we start again next year. But I need to start doing it now towards the end of the year, okay? Just remember that, and if you ever have a question, or the parent really wants to get confrontational with you, you already know that we are here as a resource. All you have to do is give them that card and say, you know what, can you please call the transportation department? They're able to help you and answer those questions, because I cannot give you an answer that you're probably not going to be satisfied with, because I cannot make that decision there, right? So don't take it upon yourself to take care of those tough situations. Let us do that. That's our job, okay? So just remember that. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I think we had Sonia next. Sonia.
Good morning, everybody. What I'm going to be talking about is really to let you know that we're going to be doing bus cleaning and inspections, and by saying that we're going to be doing the bus cleaning inspection, I mean that we're going to actually be checking for clean dash, windows, floors. Make sure that you take off all your decorations, any left behind items from students, remove graffiti, wash inside and outside, and make sure that if you have any damaged seats, make sure you write them up. Okay, for the meantime, we would like for you to put tape on them if you have cut seats. This way they don't get worse, and maybe during the summer they could go ahead and repair them. But guys, let's enforce that seating chart so you can know who are the people that are actually doing those damage on those seats. And like Gracie was talking about, making sure you stay on your scheduled time. If you're going to be doing the cleaning, make sure you clock out and then go ahead and fill out a form that we need to make sure that we approve. we sign off those forms, the mispunch forms, that means that they pay you a whole hour to actually clean your bus. So make sure you fill out one of those forms before you leave. Make sure you turn it into a supervisor. We don't want you to just leave it in the box because then we're going to be questioning. So make sure that you turn it into a supervisor so we could go ahead and sign it that same day. But make sure you clock out from your route and then go ahead and fill out that form. Okay. If y'all have any questions, go ahead and feel free to go ahead and check with Gracie or me. Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have the trainers, Crystal and Rose.
Good morning, guys. So many of y'all have come to us about the clearinghouse. We did put up a new list. I think we're up to 29 that are pending still that haven't gone into their clearinghouse. At this point, we were able to do the manual queries for those of you who had gone in and didn't see the request for the query. At this point, they've all been submitted. So again, we need you to go into clearinghouse. If you've already tried to and you're not getting through, I think a lot of where people are getting confused is the difference between logging in to login.gov and going to the complete clearinghouse. Remember, you have to go through the whole clearinghouse actual registration for it to show you that dashboard. Then you know that you've completed it correctly. I'll be making another report on Thursday. So I hope those of you that are still struggling, if you can come and see me and Rose or help each other, by all means, please try and reach out. I think that's all I have to say. Rose?
Okay. Anything else, guys, before I move it on to Amanda? Okay, Amanda, you're up.
Good morning, everyone. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I want to thank you guys for the opportunity to speak to you all on behalf of Mr. Tamayo and the department. But before I get into what I want to share with you guys, I just want to thank everyone for everyone's warm welcome. Everyone has been super graceful during this time. Everyone has been really nice. So I just want to thank you all for that. But there's just a couple of things that I'd like to just remind you guys. And the first thing is the time clock forms. So if anyone has a question as to when a time clock form should be filled out, it'll be anytime a punch is missed, whether it's you're coming back from your route or you forgot to clock in the morning or in the afternoon. Also, when on a field trip, there's a special function that has to be put into the system so that the field trip time is separate from your regular route time. There's also a form needs to be filled out whenever you're assisting with shops. So whether that's bus washing, fueling, things like that. In the future, in the near future, there will be a special function for those two things as well, but those functions don't have the right pay associated with them yet. So right now we have to just continue filling out those forms. And then if there's any special meeting for, if you're meeting with a supervisor, if there's a fueling meeting or anything like that, if you can fill out a form for that as well. But just a reminder, if you all can, or if we can just continue to have a supervisor sign them first before they get put in the bin, it cannot be processed unless the supervisor has signed it. So there's times when those forms are in the bin and it's from, a couple of days ago. So we have to get a supervisor to sign it. The supervisor has to verify that that did in fact take place. And it's just to help you guys to ensure that you're getting paid for the time that you're owed. And let me see. The second thing is just the absence forms. If you all can just remember, or if we can remember to fill them out prior to taking leave. If we are planning vacations or if we have an absence that is going to be coming up that we already know about. Thank you all so much for those who fill out those forms ahead of time. It definitely helps with making sure that our routes are covered. Those as well need to have a supervisor signature before they get turned in. And if you guys are absent and it's just a reminder to fill one out as soon as you guys come back from being absent. So thank you again. Y'all are doing a great job with punching in and out. The adjustments have been few aside from the fueling and the bus washing and things like that. So thank you so much.
Amanda, I wanted to add that on the absence forms,
Mhm.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have all been trained in frontline on how to enter absences. And once again, it's, if you see the amount of data entries that Amanda has to make because people are not entering their own absences, not only just filling out the form. I'm not talking about the form. We have had opportunities to, many opportunities, and we will continue to create those opportunities if we have to on how to enter an absence in frontline. It helps a lot. It'll help Amanda a lot with if you enter your own absence, right? So many of you are proficient in this. Maybe some of you are not doing it or you forget. But please remember, if you are absent and you have 3 days, if I'm not mistaken, after the absence to enter your absence in frontline, it's an easy task to do. Those are you who are wizards in your phones. Thank you. Thank you for entering your absences. But we have a lot of people who are familiar with the process, who know how to do it, that are not doing it. Maybe you're forgetting. We try to remind you when you call in the mornings, hey, can you enter your absence in frontline, right? That is one less data entry that Amanda has to do, right? At the end of the day or the following day or by the end of the week. Because remember, if for whatever reason it gets overlooked and it doesn't get entered, either you get docked or you don't get paid. And we don't want to get to that point. We want everyone to get paid. But we want to make sure that everyone does their part too, to make sure that Amanda is efficient in her job too, right? So if you were to look at that stack of time forms, it's a lot to go through, right? Anywhere that we can do our part to help that process, please, let's do it, okay? So if you're absent, you're out, and you know how to do your absence entry in frontline, please help out by doing that. It's required, you know, but please help out. And if you need help with that, please come and see us, and we'll help you on how to log in and navigate through all that, okay? Because we want everybody to become proficient on that, okay? And like Amanda said, thank you for those of you who are doing it, but let's make sure that we get everyone able to do it, okay? Thank you.
Right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Real quick, before we break off, I just want to say a big thank you for, especially last Friday. We had a number of drivers out that day. And so a lot of our drivers did a good job of picking up the slack with the picking up the students and taking them home. I know that was a little bit of a rough day, but as you as drivers, we always get the job done. And so I want to give you a big thank you for just pulling the team together and holding up together and doing this all together. And the big thing is getting these kids home safely. And a lot of you know, especially the high school, it's not good when they're leaving after 5 o'clock, 5:15, because it just makes it a long day for them. But everybody did an excellent job of getting them out of there by 5:15, which is, I thought it was a good time. I know we were running a little behind schedule for the middle schools and elementaries, but it all came together. And I just want to say a big thank you for pulling out for last Friday. And that's what teamwork is all about, encouraging everybody to do a great job. And thank you for just doing a great job, and just to keep a reminder that we still got to June the 2nd to go to finish out the year. So let's keep up the attendance. Let's keep making these kids come to school and give them their own time so they could have their time of study and getting their things done in school. If you have any questions, just feel free to see any of us at the office. Yes, Mr. De La Cruz.
Mr. Tamayo, would you be opposed to maybe the staff wearing Fiesta attire on Thursday?
Not a problem. Just make sure it's not, especially what we look at is the hats and the big flowering on the heads and all that. But dressing up for Fiesta, I don't have a big issue as long as it doesn't affect the vision and what we got on top of our head.
All right, thank you, sir.
So Mr. De La Cruz, Mr. Tamayo, with that being said, can we post it, where we would announce Thursday Fiesta attire is acceptable? Yes. Okay.
Mr. Tamayo, you're on mute.
Yes, ma'am. That'll be good. Just go ahead and post it. And just be aware of the big hats and the flowering. I know the Fiesta, they always have the headbands and all that. That's something big that we don't want to wear. You can bring it, but do not wear it while you're driving on the bus. I believe this meeting is over, and I thank everyone and have a good day, and we shall see you at 2:15 today. Thank you.
Sir, the office staff, is there a post meeting or something?
Yes, sir. Well,